Welcome to the Know. I'm Ashley. It is a whole new week, and we do have some unfortunate news from something that happened over the weekend. We're actually going to save it to the end because it's not really the kind of news that you want to follow with anything else. But before we get to that point, there is some happier news. One of those being Microsoft has confirmed the existence of its Xbox All Access program, which lets you get an Xbox One S or an Xbox One X console, along with Xbox Live Gold and Game Pass for a monthly fee, that including the console. The subscription plan for the Xbox One X starts at $34.99 per month, and the Xbox One S plan is $21.99 per month. Both plans last for 24 months. Each of them works out to be cheaper than if you bought all of those things separately, and then you do keep the console in the end. So think of it a little bit like when you buy a phone, you don't pay for it all up front usually. There are some catches. You have to sign up in person at a Microsoft store. It's only in the US, and there's an approval process via a Dell Preferred Credit account that you also have to apply for. The subscription service, obviously very unique offering from a major console maker, and it's a move by Microsoft to entice gamers to check out the Xbox ecosystem, and it'll be pretty interesting to see if this pilot program takes off in the US, because if it does, you can bet that Microsoft will try it elsewhere. Also, very interesting timing because this is coming in time for the holidays, so budget-conscious families or people who haven't saved up hundreds and hundreds of dollars to buy the console may see it as an attractive option. We'll see. SpiderMan for the PlayStation 4 is almost here. It's coming next week, and now we have a few details about things like how much space it's going to take up on your hard drive. James Stevenson, the community director for developer Insomniac Games, tweeted that the game will be a minimum of 45 gigs and it will also have a day one patch. He also warned there are some pretty massive spoilers for the game floating around on Reddit in particular, but the internet in general, adding, "Time to get off Reddit until you play the game. And be cool, don't spoil it for others." The wait isn't super long. Spider-Man is releasing next week, September 7th for PlayStation 4. I'm counting the days. The war between Epic Games and Google continues. You might remember that Epic said it's skipping Google Play and releasing the Android version of Fortnite via its own channels. Well, last week, Google shared information on some vulnerabilities that it found in Epic's installer for the game, and Google said that hackers could exploit the installer to load malware. Of course, the installer wouldn't be needed if Epic hadn't bypassed Google Play, which is the heart of the disagreement between the two companies. Anyway, Google's revelations about the security vulnerabilities really pissed off Epic's CEO Tim Sweeney, who said they asked Google to hold off on the disclosure, but clearly that didn't happen. Sweeney tweeted, "We asked Google to hold the disclosure until the update was more widely installed. They refused, creating an unnecessary risk for Android users in order to score cheap PR points." The Android version of Fortnite, by the way, currently still in beta. Also, the vulnerabilities that Google pointed out, they are primarily aimed at phones that have already been compromised security-wise, so this may or may not affect you, but it is at the very least something to be aware of. Now hey, here's a pretty amazing stat about a game that's not even out yet. According to Amazon's numbers, Super Smash Bros. Ultimate is already the best-selling game of 2018 based on pre-orders alone. That makes it better so far than God of War, Monster Hunter World, and Far Cry 5, which is saying a lot. Okay, but there are some caveats. Clearly, there always are. Amazon divides up games by platforms, so that does mean that exclusives always going to do better on its charts than multi-platform games, so that's where things like Far Cry and Monster Hunter World may fall down a little bit, and also, obviously, Amazon's only one part of the larger retail industry, but still, it is Amazon, so this is a pretty strong sign for both the game and for Nintendo. We still have a little bit of a wait though. Super Smash Bros. Ultimate arrives for the Switch December 7th. Before that, we get Pokemon Let's Go and Mario Party, so you can destroy all your friendships and then beat them up. Xbox One fans, I hope you're ready for some really good horror games. The console will soon be getting the Amnesia Collection, which is comprised of Amnesia: The Dark Descent, along with its Justine DLC, and then the sequel, A Machine for Pigs. The first Amnesia came out back in 2010. It's a first-person survival horror game set in Victorian-era London. Your character is exploring a castle, but you have no access to weapons, and you're basically trying to run and hide from monsters while maintaining a grip on your very fragile sanity while trying to figure out what the hell is going on. The collection, which is already out for PlayStation 4, releases for Xbox One August 31st, so end of the week, but no pricing information just yet. The latest wrinkle in the whole post-James Gunn firing era of Marvel's Guardians of the Galaxy franchise is something that's, well, maybe not wholly surprising, but a bummer just the same. There was a small team in early pre-production on the film. They've all been put on hold, grinding any bit of development on the sequel to a dead stop. Deadline confirmed this team's been put on ice as Disney searches for a replacement director for the film. This team was reportedly working on Gunn's vision for the project, which is still kind of where Disney may be going, since they're also reportedly using his script and ideas for the movie, and it's supposed to be quite a pivotal film as far as setting up what comes next for Marvel Cinematic Universe. But it seems they don't want to keep moving ahead in case their new director wants to put his or her own stamp on the movie and not just trace another filmmaker's project. Marvel currently has the film slated for a 2020 release date, which does still give them some breathing room to relaunch the project. What they need to be worried about is whether or not all the drama surrounding the movie taints it permanently, much like the troubled production of something like, I don't know, maybe a Star Wars story, which did tend to diminish the interest in that film from general audiences. Now, you'd think by now someone would have asked Tom Hardy how many Venom movies he signed up for, but the answer was actually just revealed in an interview with Total Film. Hardy says he signed on for 3 more of them. That could mean more Venom-centric movies. It could also mean Venom appearances in Spider-Man sequels or other films, since Sony's more than likely going to try to go for the hard PG-13 instead of a full-on R rating for Venom. Maybe just toe it as close as they can to the edge there. It's a safe bet they're going to lean more towards bringing Eddie Brock into Peter Parker's world, but we do know they're introducing Woody Harrelson as a mystery cameo character in Venom. I mean, he's totally gonna be Carnage though, right? Anyway, with plans to make him the central villain in a follow-up film. Whether Venom goes it alone or teams up with your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man to take down Harrelson, anybody's guess, but as long as Venom makes money, you'll be seeing more of him on the big screen. The cast for J.J. Abrams' Star Wars Episode 9 just got a little bit more crowded. Dominic Monaghan was recently announced to be joining up alongside Star Wars regulars Daisy Ridley, John Boyega, Oscar Isaac, Mark Hamill, Billie Dee Williams, Kelly Marie Tran, and even the late, great Carrie Fisher, who will return as Princess Leia thanks to unused footage from The Force Awakens. Monaghan is no stranger to epic movie series. He starred as Merry, one of Frodo's faithful Hobbit friends in Peter Jackson's Lord of the Rings. This also reteams Monaghan with Abrams, who was one of the creators of Lost. Since it's Star Wars, Disney's not saying anything about his role just yet, so it could be minor, major, something in between, who knows. I guess we'll all find out December 2019 when Episode 9 hits theaters. And now the awful news to end things on. We didn't want to follow any fun news with this one because really, where do you go from here? There was a fatal shooting at a Madden tournament in Jacksonville, Florida over the weekend. According to news reports, the gunman, who was identified as 24-year-old David Katz, killed 2 people before taking his own life. There were multiple other people injured with gunshot wounds as well. The gunfire was actually terrifyingly captured on a live stream of the event. Needless to say, very horrifying to listen to. I don't recommend it, but it is there if you need to see it. One gamer who was part of the tournament, Drini Gioka, was also shot. Shortly after it happened, he tweeted, "The tourney just got shut up. I'm leaving and never coming back." He said that he was lucky that the bullet only hit his thumb and added, "Worst day of my life." As for the shooter, CNN reported that he was also a Madden player who went by the name Bread, and he'd previously won Madden tournaments in 2017. Needless to say, this is a terrible situation. Our thoughts go out to everyone affected by this, by all those injured, by all those who've lost loved ones as a result of the shooting. We're all still processing it as well. I think it's going to take some time, but that's the news. So leave your sympathies, your thoughts, your prayers. If you want to contribute to a GoFundMe for the victims, we'll leave a link to that in the description as well. And just, I don't know, be safe out there.